Welcome to Scorched Earth. This is going to be a mid-month reading for the sign of Taurus, Sun, Moon and Ascendant. Have a look in the description box below and follow the link if you want to find your birth chart and you don't know what your Moon and Ascendant signs are. It's down there. And then you should come back and watch the videos for those, because it'll give you a better idea of what's going on with you overall than you will get from just your sun sign. So it's worth doing. Thank you for your continued support. Taurians, you are by far and away my most staunch and loyal supporters, and I appreciate every single last one of you for it. You know, for your subscribes, your likes, your comments, donations, your messages, everything. You're frickin' awesome. So let's have a look and see what's going on for you for the last 2 weeks of April. Ooh, got very hot all of a sudden. Right. 3 cards for where Taurus is at right now, please. Ooh. Where is Taurus right now? Ooh. Okay. Oh, I've been getting this thing, this noise in my ear. It's quite a common thing, apparently, at the moment. Anyway. Ooh, and there's the last one. Now that's an interesting set of cards, Taurus. At the bottom of the deck, we've got the Lovers, which is the card of Gemini, with the 10 of Cups underneath. And that for me can sometimes talk about a choice, or it can talk about a romantic relationship. You know, we'll see how the reading progresses, see if we can work out which one it is. So, the first card that you have is the 2 of Earth. That's the 2 of Pentacles, so your energy. The second card we've got is the 8 of Skies, which is the 8 of Swords in a standard deck. And it's sitting in between the 2 of Earth and the 10 of Earth, which is complete material fulfillment, right? Interesting. So, the 2 of Earth, or the 2 of Pentacles, as it is a card that speaks about balance, right? It can speak of attaining balance, or it can speak of the need to attain balance. And between all of the different decks, it's one of the cards that varies most in its depiction. Some characters look really, really stricken, you know, and like they're sitting in a situation that is unsustainable. Others look positively gleeful about the fact that they're doing it, you know, the balancing and everything's cool. This one has more of a neutral feel today for me. It's got 2 foxes, and they appear to have noticed something in the underbush, and they're going for a little investigate. You know, the ears are up and they're both pointing in a particular direction, right, and going forwards. And the interesting thing is, because it talks about balance, or the need for balance, or any of that sort of thing, right? I'm drawn to these other 2 cards because this card speaks of stasis, right? It speaks of feeling stuck. It speaks of feeling trapped quite a lot. You know, it can sometimes talk about self-sabotage as well, because it is broadly what's going on in your head rather than necessarily what is going on outside. You know, we all know the standard depiction of the woman blindfolded and bound and stood within a circle of 8 swords. But although on first glance she appears to be in a perilous position, she's not bound tightly. She could wriggle free, she could pull the blindfold off, you know, and then she would be able to navigate through the swords and around and off to safety. That's why it's a card of being stuck in your own head. And there's a beautiful stasis about this card as well, somewhat. But rather than a pause for reflection, it is a feeling of restriction, a feeling of being trapped. The reason that I find it interesting is because that card there is what is sitting between these 2 pentacle cards for you, Earth energy, right? Balance, or the need to balance, and complete fulfillment of a material sort. Except that, you know, like sometimes they can call this the inheritance card and stuff like that, but for me it speaks of commitment and loyalty, because because those are two things that you need, whether it's in a relationship or, you know, in a business sense. If you're saying something like that, you know, there's a series of prescribed steps that you need to follow in order to get there. And it seems like you're feeling thwarted at the moment. I'm going to pull up a couple of clarifiers, which I don't usually try to, well, I try to avoid doing it in the mid-month readings, because otherwise they end up being, you know, 40 minutes long, and I was assured once that nobody had time to listen to that in the comment section. So I try and keep them a little shorter for you. It seems so odd with the two cards either side of it. You know, it's a completely different hue. These two are very grounded. They're in the earth. They're your energy. You know, what we would expect to see from Taurus. The Eight of Skies is up there in the cosmos. You know, but it's all mental stuff up here. It's not quite stretching as far as overthinking, and you have suffered with that in the past, I know. But there is a certain amount of mental confinement that you're experiencing. What about the Two of Earth? Why is the Two of Earth here for Taurus? Cards dropping all over the place. Ace of Wands, Five of Wands, Four of Cups. I don't think they're relevant. Let's have a look. Why is the Two of Earth here, please? There we go. Ooh, Ten of Swords. It's a Wheel of Fortune. That's interesting. So let's talk about the Ten of Swords, right? Because the received wisdom is that Ten of Swords is an ending of some description. But if you've watched any of my videos before, you know that I don't like to see endings as something that just stops like that, because I don't feel like that's what an ending is, really. Because I feel like everything is cyclical, right? So something ends, but as it ends, so something new begins, right? And I feel like this card particularly talks to that, because, you know, it's the Ten of Swords, but there's a rainbow there. You know, there's colour to the card. There's hope. Yeah, that's what I see from the rainbow. And the start of something new. And I don't really know what the background to this card is, but as I'm looking at it, it makes me think of, well, two things, actually. Well, Odin and his two ravens. But also like the Ark, you know, where the birds were sent off to find dry land. You know, there's that hope after great tumult, I guess. And you've got the Lovers, but it's come out in reverse. What's that? That's you, King of Pentacles. I have one more card for this Two of Earth, please. Ace of Swords. Right. I don't know how many of you this is going to apply to, but I'm going to run with it anyway. I'm just going to tell you what I see. So this card, like I said, talks about balancing, and sometimes that can be the balancing of you know, duty and responsibility against, you know, your own identity, and trying to keep those things intact. If you're a parent, sometimes it's very easy to lose your identity beyond that of, you know, a parent to your children. Sometimes you can do that with, you know, work, and sometimes you can do it with your own partner. But this feels more internal, right? And it is a two, so that kind of makes sense. It feels like you are trying to balance yourself out, but balancing yourself out off the back of an ending of some description, which ultimately will turn out to be the best thing for you, as these things usually are. And an end to some sort of relationship, I feel. Some sort of relationship. Possibly romantic, probably romantic, to be honest. That's the second time the Lovers has come out with a truth, right? truth of some description, because that's the Eight of Swords, and that could be a new way of seeing things, or this could literally be information that's been delivered to you that has caused an ending, right? But whatever it is, something came in and initiated this end, right? Now, while you're trying to balance yourself out, you're kind of stuck with this. So how about the Eight of Skies? Ooh, that one flew out. Two of Pentacles, right? Again, how about the Eight of Skies, please? That's the one. I've got the Three of Wands. Seven of Swords and the Nine of Swords. Now we're at overthinking. In fact, we've got the 7, the 8 and the 9 of Swords now. Two of Pentacles, again, different deck, different depiction, same card. Three of Wands here. And then the 7 of Swords and the 9 of Swords, right? The Two of Pentacles is everything that I described before, because it was the first card. It's that need to balance. It's that need to right yourself after something that's kind of knocked you sideways a little bit. But I feel like because the 7 of Swords and the 9 of Swords is here, that you've fallen back into overthinking, right? You've done that because trying to level yourself out is admirable, and it's absolutely what you should do. But it feels like you got so stuck in the act of trying to rebalance yourself internally that you've slid into old patterns of overthinking, right? We've got this 7 of Swords here, which ordinarily talks about, risk or deception of some sort, possibly, right? Because we've got this castle up at the top of the cloud, right? It's quite a nice depiction. But then we've got this woman who sat, absolutely bereft, as you would expect with the 9 of Swords. Her back is to it. It's just like she's turned her back on it and dealing with something that turned out to be an illusion, actually. It's almost like this was your fantasy, and what you've realised is that it's not happened. It's not happening. And now you're restricted because you got stuck in that overthinking loop about it, and you got there for the most admirable of reasons, which is to try and, get everything in the right place in your head. You're trying to find the truth. Look how those characters are kind of looking off into the distance, right? I usually associate with like expansion with the Three of Wands. Right? I find all these characters are all looking this way, and there's this one character looking this way, and it's almost like kind of missing the point a little bit. Because actually, as the cards lay on my table, what all of these characters are doing is looking at the truth. The Ace of Swords, because it's sitting like this. Apart from this one character who's looking this way. So effectively, you've got your back to the truth. You're not seeing things as they are. But you're very much focusing on what you thought they were and what they've turned out not to be. Right? You're kind of focusing on the negative rather than on the reality of the situation. I hope that makes sense. And the final card that you've got is the Ten of Earth, right? Which is for you, the accumulation, the culmination of your suit, right? It's where It's where everybody wants to be, really, but it's got a particular potency for Taurus because it's Earth. That structure and stability and loyalty and commitment and, you know, all of those things that Taurus value. How about Ten of Earth? Right, I've got 4 of Cups. 2 of Swords again. Feels like a bit of a lack of direction. It's kind of like the want is there to do something. The urge is there, but it's almost like you don't quite know what it is that you're supposed to do. The 4 of Cups talks about missed opportunities. You know, can sometimes talk about taking things for granted and stuff like this. But there's quite a secretive feel to this particular depiction of the 4 of Cups. It looks like this person's taking a moment to really enjoy the fact that they've got some sort of secret liaison going on that nobody knows about, and they're just allowing themselves a moment to just be like, you know, oh, this is cool, you know, I love this. But it feels slightly self-deceptive given all of this that's on here. And then we've got the 2 of Swords, which ordinarily talks about needing to make an intellectual choice, but kind of not utilising your intuition to do that, or your feelings or anything. You know, it's having to make a really cold, hard, logical choice. We've got the 6 of Swords, but it's come out in reverse. On the bottom of the deck, we've got the Wheel of Fortune. And as you know, if you've ever seen these videos, I really like this Wheel of Fortune. These are people down here, right? Divine orchestration, you know, something going on here. But it's a lesson, right? This has always got an inbuilt lesson aspect to it. Now, these cards together with this tell me that this is kind of what you're yearning for, this is kind of what you want, but you don't know how to get there and you don't know how to do it because you're still kind of stuck in a slightly daydreamy, slightly fantasy-driven version of reality at the moment, right? And it's like you have to cut the head off the snake, and the snake actually is emanating inside your own mind, because this way around I would be really pleased to see this, because this is walking away from circumstances that have hurt you. You know, I love this depiction. She's off, she's headed, but she's leaving bloody footprints in the snow. You know, there's wounding there, but she knows that she needs to leave, right? She's going off, she's doing that. When it's coming out that way up, that is somebody not moving. Right? That's a block on that energy, and it feels like that block is your internal block, right? Not leaving this situation behind emotionally, even if you've left it behind physically. I'm kind of still, I'll find the word. Wallowing was the first word that came to mind, but I don't feel like that's actually correct. It's more, it's kind of nestling in what could have been more than anything else. Right, so that's your energy right now. I hope you're still with me, fucking hell, right? Let's have a look and see what's coming towards you. Considering this is supposed to be just a 9-card spread, I think we're already over that, just with where you are right now. What's coming towards Taurus, please? 15th to the 30th. 15th to the 30th. Whoa. 15th to the 30th. Yeah. See, at the bottom of the deck now we've got the Ace of Skies, which is the Ace of Wands in a standard deck. Ace of Wands, sorry. Ace of Swords, right? So we're talking about truth. We're talking about clarity of seeing things again, right? And it's already come out. But the cards that you've got for what are coming towards you are the 5 of Oceans, which is the 5 of Cups. Absolutely incredible card. Judgment, which which is kind of fiery and dramatic, I have to say, and the Four of Earth. And I'm not really surprised to see that here, because from what I'm already seeing, there is some stuff that you need to let go, right? You just need to let it go. You're not going to get what you want from this situation. I'll just tell you that now before I even go any further. So, the Five of Cups. Some readers call it the crying over spilt milk card, and I feel like that's really disingenuous, because all the fives are really uncomfortable energy shifts, right? If the fours are your foundational stuff, then the five is where somebody comes along and fucking grenades it, right? And ultimately it is for your benefit, because it shows you where the cracks are in the things that you have built, and it gives you an opportunity to, you know, learn some stuff, move away from the harsh stuff. Put this light on. It's getting a bit dark. Learn some stuff and move on, right? Being cups, it's about emotions, feelings, and that kind of thing. But the typical depiction has a man who is staring at three cups that are on the ground, right? And he's completely ignoring the two that are behind him, right? He's so wounded about the loss of these three cups and what was in these three cups as it's, you know, sinking into the soil, that he has forgotten that there are two behind him, or he's disinterested in the fact that there are two behind him. Yeah? And the underlying message from the card is you're focusing on what you've lost and not what you still have. You know? In some ways, it's asking you to express gratitude for those things that you still have. And remember that that is how you attract more good things to you. You know, it's being grateful for the things that you have. So what's coming towards you feels like more of the same of the energy that you've been in at the moment. I mean, that is truly focusing on the things that you've lost and feeling quite maudlin about the things that you've lost, rather than turning your eyes towards the future and moving forwards. Yeah, let's have a look. See if there's anything else to come out from this vibrations. Actually, do you know what? I don't want to use that. What do I want to use? That? Yeah, I thought it might be. Let's get the marigold in here. Love this deck. So much. Right, let's have about the Five of Oceans. Judgment. Okay. And the Five of Wands. Yeah. So that's Judgment out twice. Right? That for me is a card of Scorpio. So if you're dealing with a Scorpio, then, you know, then that's the thing. But I don't feel like it is. I feel like this is an energetic judgment. And we've got more fives, because the Five of Wands has come out now to clarify the Five of Cups. You know, it's a real conflict energy, and that can be external conflict with someone else, or it can be your own internal conflict. The Judgment card can be about old situations resurrecting, right? But I feel like here it's more of focusing. You know, it's a real underlining of the fact that you are focusing on old situations, right? Old things that don't exist anymore. For me, I don't get a sense of there being a rekindling of that from these cards at all. And like I said, there's some level of conflict here. Now, whether this is with the person that you have ended things with, or whether this is you, I'm not sure. Let's look. I've got ones, please. Oh, fuck. Six of Cups and Six of Rings. Okay, right. Definitely a past person, and definitely a need to kind of balance yourself out. But what I'm really getting from this is a need for a sense of closure that you aren't getting. Yeah, and like on the bottom of the deck, we've got the Page of Cups, which is small expressions of love. And for me, that is usually an apology of some description. Then Justice, then the Hanged Man. I think you're really hanging out for an apology from someone, and it's not coming. It's not going to come. And what you need to do is, with the Hanged Man, change the way that you're viewing this situation, because at the moment, you know, the energy that you are sitting in is coming perilously close to wallowing, and you don't want that, right? You absolutely don't want that. Oh, it's clap for NHS night. They'll stop in a minute. There you go, it's a little slice of England for you if you don't live here on a Thursday night for the last 3 weeks. Everybody's come out onto their doorsteps and clapped for the NHS, which is very cool and very laudable. And quite nice, actually, because it's been incredibly quiet down here. There was some notion of doing the same thing for the Prime Minister, and frankly, I'm kind of glad that they didn't run with that. Anyway, let's get back to this. That'll settle down in a minute. So, 6 of Rings, you need to balance yourself out, right? And you need to acknowledge the fact that you are focusing on the wrong thing now, because you can't balance yourself out, and this is what you're trying to do. You're trying really hard to balance yourself out, but because there's still an aspect to this which is slightly of fantasy, right, that you're not really accepting the reality of the situation, you cannot progress and you will stay conflicted until you do so. Now, and then we come to judgment. Again, this one is a big fiery death judgment. You know, it's proper end of days stuff. Tell me about judgment, please. Why is judgment here for Taurus? People have been letting fireworks off as well, and it absolutely shit my dog up. I'm not even joking. The first week it happened, it was most distressed. Death. So this is another card of Scorpio. You may be dealing with a Scorpio. I'm going to throw that in there. But then we've got the 5 of Rings, right? You're being asked to consciously make a decision about what it is that you're dealing with at the moment, and it has to be conscious, but it has to come from the heart, right? Because you need to transform this energy that you're in. You're feeling isolated. You're feeling alone. You're feeling pushed out. You're feeling abandoned. You don't understand, I think, why this person has pulled away from you, and it does feel like that quite strongly. But again, we're back to this feeling that I've got, that you are after closure or an apology or something, and you're not going to get it. It's not coming, right? So are you going to sit around and wait for this to happen? Because it's not going to. You know, you have to live your life. And you need to consciously decide that that's what's going to happen. You are required to transform this energy that you're in, like this energy here, because it's no good for you. Remember, this is what's coming up for you. And the 4 of Earth. Now, I don't even know if I need to put... Just notice the bottom of the deck, the clarifiers, is the 3 of Swords. It's a broken heart, right? Now, the 4 of Earth, I don't even know if I need to clarify that, because that is the need to release. You know, like I said before, when the 4 of Rings... comes 4 of Rings. Fucking mixing all my elements. Well, it is rings. Rings, Earth, Pentacles, all the same element. When this card comes up, that is about somebody who is holding on too tight to anything, and that can be money, it can be, you know, people, it can be situations. It's a refusal to let the energy move in and out, and that's what you need to do. That's essential for energy, right? You keep energy trapped and it gets stagnant and it rots and it causes bitterness and all these sorts of things. Like, you are being asked to make a point of consciously releasing, right? Until you consciously release, you can't start pulling these swords out of your heart. You can't do it. Yeah, that is 4 of Earth. That is 4 of Earth. The star just flipped there, which talks about healing. What have we got there? 10 of, yeah. So at the bottom of the deck now, we've got the 5 of Cups in this deck as well. You know, it's just focusing on these things that you have lost and not what you have. So the 2 cards that came out to clarify were the 10 of Cups and the 4 of Cups. Now, ordinarily, the 10 of Cups is a beautiful card. It talks about complete emotional fulfillment, you know, and it's usually got a couple of kids and, you know, a couple on it and a dog running around and rainbows and fucking sunshine and butterflies and all the cool stuff, right? All the stuff that we want. This one is really, really different, right? We've got 10 cups. The skulls are the vessels that hold the water in this. So, you know, the cup suit. it's got 4 fucking nooses on it, right? And this card to me has a slightly different feel to your standard 10 of cups. Like this one, it's almost like be careful what you wish for. This one, like what you thought would make you happy would ultimately end up putting a fucking noose around your neck, right? Because what you thought you wanted isn't right for you, right? And sometimes we have to submit, just like the hangman, we have to submit to spirit or, our higher selves, or source, whatever it is that you want to call, and trust that they understand better than we do. When I see this card, it makes me think of those situations in my life where I thought that my life was over and was ruined, right? And actually that's happened more times than I care to share, frankly. But on reflection, some time down the road, I see that it was a gift, right? And I think it's really important to understand that sometimes the gifts aren't, obvious. They're not the things that we wanted with our heart and our soul. Sometimes it's the removal of those things, or the preventing of us getting those things, because we would have fucked up in such an astonishing way without that course correction, right? For me, acquiring a brain injury 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, was the best thing that ever happened to me. At the time, I wanted to fucking die, right? But actually, it was a course correction. It stopped me from doing what I was doing and moved me this way, right? I was going to go and be a barrister. I'm practicing fucking international business law. That was what I was going to do. That's what I was doing. I was doing a postgrad degree to that end. And I was assaulted and I got a brain injury and I couldn't do that. And I had to spend then, a year and a half unraveling my fucking psyche and working out who I was, because the way that I had defined my value up until that point was no longer applicable, right? My brain, smartest person in the room, always. That's fine. I was comfortable with that. Right? But that was where I defined my value. When you get to the point where you couldn't even remember to put the handbrake on your fucking car because of your memory issues, you can no longer kind of claim that card as your validation, and you have to rebuild from the inside out, right? Had I got what I wanted, had I been, a barrister practicing international business law, I wouldn't be sat here talking to you now. And ultimately, I do not feel like I would be in any way emotionally satisfied, because I would be separated from my children by my work schedule, and I wouldn't be helping people in the way that I feel like I'm helping now. So for me, my dreams of joining the bar were this card. And I feel like for you, whatever it is that you're yearning on and you're still daydreaming about and refusing to let go, is the same thing, right? And it's time to release, and it's time to trust that there is something better out there for you. Fuck my life. This is taking forever. This is supposed to be a mid-month reading, but it's because I love you as Tauruses. I cannot help myself. Right. And I don't think this is all of you. I think this is probably just a section of you, and I'm probably going to end up doing you a second video, because that's apparently how we roll. The Leo and the Tauruses, Tauri, Taurum. I don't know what the collective ending suffix is for a whole herd of Taurus. I don't know. You can put it in the comments for me. Anyway, let's get some advice for Taurus. I have some advice. Whoa. It's the star again. Different deck. It came out before in the marigold. More Taurus, please. Shit. Oh, that is beautiful. Oh, Taurus. I should just say, actually, because I noticed that I just didn't talk about it at all. The Four of Cups here, for me, adds on to this really strongly. When I said the Four of Cups was like a missed opportunity, like this wasn't a missed opportunity. Your opportunity was the missing of what you perceived was an opportunity in the first place, if that makes any sense. If I haven't made that too convoluted, right? Just as a gift isn't necessarily the thing that you always wanted. Sometimes things come along and you need to react to the idea of it, right? Rather than experiencing the thing itself, because that's where the growth is, right? That thing was never yours anyway. But the smell of it, you know, the thought of it coming along, wafting under your nose, was designed to cause you to grow, to cause your soul to grow as you dealt with the aftermath of not getting that thing. I hope that's made sense. And that's just a confirmation for me that that is true. The three cards that you have, Taurus, I actually feel really emotional all of a sudden, like I want to cry, but I don't fucking cry, so I don't know what that's about. The first card that you've got is the Star. It's a card of Aquarius, right? Second card you've got is the Magician, card of Gemini. The third card that you've got is the Fool, card of Aries, right? None of those signs are particularly important, I think, to this reading, but I wanted to tell you that they were there anyway. And for me, this is a progression, right? Like this is your advice for the next 2 weeks, but fuck me, this could be life advice, right? Everybody should live their life in this way, because this card for me, more than anything else, talks about trust. And interestingly, it's one of two cards here in your advice section that talks about trust, right? Do you remember how I said you're trusting to a higher power, submitting to a higher power, and trusting that they know better than you what the plan is, right? Here it is, right? Release your need to control everything. Release your need to make everything happen the way that you thought it should have happened, because it's not going to, right? And the sooner you let that go, the sooner you're going to be happy, because actually everything that you need, every single fucking tool that you need to fix yourself, you already have. You just don't see it at the moment because you are willingly disempowering yourself from the solution, right? From your ability to do it. What an incredible, powerful combination of cards that is, right? And for me, the thing that's really, truly beautiful about that is that then we have the Fool, another card for me of trust, right? The Fool moves forwards in perfect trust, perfect love, you know, perfect innocence. He takes no fucking baggage with him. None, right? It's uncharted territory. So here we have the Magician sitting in between these two cards, right? And what this is saying to me is that you have the power both to heal yourself and to create this new start that you're so desperate for, right? All of that is within you already. You just have to submit to it and allow it to happen. Now, if you don't fucking meditate, it's about time that you did, Taurus, because you're so powerful, right? That when when you put your bullhead down and you get stubborn about things and you start headbutting walls, you know, trying to knock them over, you can sometimes miss the nuances of the situation, right? And you're so powerful that you kind of pull yourself along the wrong way, so much further than most other signs could have taken it, just because of the level of stubborn that you've got there, right? Take a step back, meditate, you know, do all of these things, but be kind to yourself, right? Because that's something that's been really missing from your readings, or at least, you know, being highlighted by the readings for months and months and months, is that you are not kind to yourselves. You should be your own best friends. You should. Yeah. And you've got an incredible, powerful set of energies at your disposal, but you need to choose to take them. You know, you need to consciously make that decision, and you're not doing that at the moment. You're headbutting a wall, right? And the wall's not falling over, it's just moving further down the street, and you're getting yourself into, you know, all sorts of, I don't know how to carry on that kind of example in any kind of meaningful way, so I'm just going to stop it there. I think you take my meaning though. What you've lost wasn't for you, but the experience of the perceived loss was meant to trigger you to do the work, right? Lose the baggage, move forwards, release, let things go. I'm going to leave it there, Taurus. And like I said, I'll probably do another fucking one for you tomorrow anyway, because I just love you all, and yeah, like, you're becoming my favourite sign. Not really, because obviously that's Leo, because that's the best sign, but like Taurus is coming a close second, so, you know, I'm biased about it. I'm going to leave it there. If you want an extended, let me know in the comments, and I'll do one, not today, but I will do it tomorrow. I don't know, this seems pretty straightforward to me, and I've spent fucking 41 minutes talking to you, which is like twice as long as the videos that I've done for any other sign. If you want an extended, I'll do it, and we'll really drill down into this. But if you're happy to leave it where it is, then I'm happy to. With that, you just let me know. I'll be guided by you. And yeah, look out for like a second reading that I do, just, you know, just in case you need it. Take care.